Chapter 3 The Headless Woman's Woods. Was it worth it? I didn't want this conversation. Not in the slightest. Christ, Carl was supposed to be my best friend, and he wasn't supposed to know about what he obviously knew. Feeling like dog shit would only come later, because at that moment I was too scared to feel remorse. Carl took one last drag and then flicked what was left of his cigarette into the campfire between us. This time, he demanded, "Was it, Jake? Was screwing Becky worth it?" The brusqueness with which Carl broached the subject caught me off guard, and the immediate fear held me speechless. I wasn't intentionally playing dumb, but I'll bet I sure looked it. Despite Carl's tone and entire demeanor indicating his knowledge was complete and there was no way for me to weasel out of this, I said, "Carl, I don't know where this is coming from." "Shut up," Carl spat, and peered over the flames at me as if I was worthless. He grabbed the pack of smokes beside him on his sitting log and drew out another. He lit up and sucked off that death stick like the stores had announced a discontinuation of cigarettes by the time the two of us were due back from our annual camp outing. He blew smoke fiercely and then stared off into the night of outer space. Amazingly, he chuckled. "For fuck's sake, I've read the text you two send one another." He leveled with me, glared flatly at me, and the flames reflecting in his eyes only seemed to intensify his anger. I had no good reply to any of this. It was true. I'd been having it on with my best friend's wife for near on 2 years. If he'd pressed me on the subject, I wouldn't have been able to answer even why other than dumb shit lust. So nope, there weren't any good answers. No real explanations other than I'd thought we'd never get caught, and that someday Becky would call it off and all of our lives, including Carl's and ignorant blissfulness, could drone on. Carl and Becky forever happily married, and me and Carl forever splitting a 12-pack every other weekend. In fact, what I had were questions. Had Becky outright confessed? If not, how the hell could she have been so careless with her phone? Lacking anything to offer him, I muttered an apology. "You're sorry?" Carl's eyes didn't drop like I was hoping they would. Instead, they stared daggers into me, and I was feeling those daggers. When he next spoke, his voice rose with anger. 9 years, dude. That's how long me and Becky been married. 9 fucking years. 9 years indeed. I knew that well. Hell, I'd stood up as Carl's best man on their special day. I knocked the best man speech out of the park that night, too. A few good laughs and a nice little toast, finished off with hugs from both the bride and groom. "How long you and me been doing this, you think?" he asked. "Doing what, exactly?" "Camping together, dummy." He said it like I was sitting on the dunce chair with a cylindrical pointed hat, as if a moment ago we hadn't been contemplating the consequences of me doing the bedroom jig with Becky on the regular. "Coming out here to the Headless Woman's Woods." Happy for the change of subject, I said, "Shoot, Carl. What, maybe since we were 12? On your dad's dare, of course." Carl's dad had stayed with us those first couple years camping out there in the Headless Woman's Woods, probably knowing too well a couple of boys would be scared shitless all by their lonesome. Carl's dad had even told us the Headless Woman's real story. Carl and I had heard of the Headless Woman. It was nigh impossible to grow up in our town without hearing some version of the story on the playground. She was, for all intents and purposes, my town's local urban legend, our hook on the rearview mirror, or the call is coming from inside the house. That first night camping out there, though, in her woods, Carl's dad had gone into the deeper details of the legend. Back before Woodville had yet to make the leap from village to an actual town, some jealous husband had stripped his young wife and dragged her cheating ass, that's how Carl's dad had put it, cheating ass,